Alright guys, I've been working on this plastic, and you know, that is something that's kind of important for fixing up plastic. So I've actually fixed up most of this, and it took me a while, and this is a very delicate plastic because it's quite a few pieces. The way I am fixing the plastic is this. It's a heat gun. Well, not a heat gun, it's like for soldering, but it works really well. And this one heats up very quickly. You can get like higher wattage ones, and of course it's going to make it much easier. This part, that's pretty damaged. So the way I go about it, I have these old zip ties, and you melt it onto the back. And I'm just going to do a little bit more up here. It might be difficult for you guys to see, but I've done this before on different plastics, and it works out well because you're essentially just melting the two plastics together. You're not doing anything different or special. It's just melting stuff together. So for the next thing, I'm going to take these old zip ties, and what I do is I put them where they need to be melted. So we're essentially building up the plastic now because I've removed a little bit. Because you can see how much time I'm spending per inch, per centimeter still. I just noticed this. That's more plastic to fix. So at this point here, we have a bolt that goes onto this piece of plastic. You can see the X there. Take a Phillips head screwdriver, and hopefully this is going to come out without any issue. There we go. What I'm going to do is put just a little bit of super glue, just a little bit, just to hold it. There we go. Oh, I put too much. Anyway. And now we have to figure out the way to put that tab. It actually held it really well, so I think I'm just going to let this dry. So that's the screw tab. I just got to make sure that this is going down quite a bit. The interior part of the scooter, and this chunk was completely ripped off. This is being held by this bolt, so I'm going to see if I can remove this. Oh. Like this. Yep. So that's the piece there. So funny, this is just like a puzzle piece. I think this should be fairly easy to melt onto here. Right there. There it is. There's that crack. And I should be able to even put something here, but we're going to like fix this from the back. Essentially kind of digging a little bit. So I'm pushing it down. And the plastic on both sides is melting, but I'm kind of like making a line down. The idea is that this is going to melt both sides of the plastic. This way it becomes a little bit easier to add the stuff on top. I'm going to make sure I melt quite a bit of the plastic. I'm going to twist it here, and I'm going to take my plastic zip tie, and I'm just going to melt it into the surface. So let's unscrew this from here, and we're going to put the screw right back. We're still missing a piece, but that's the way I'm going to attach it right here. And now I want to see if I can melt this really quick, just enough to hold it. I just need it to hold. And you need to make sure that it's going in the right spot. Guys, I just finished fixing this tab here, I put some super glue and then I melted the sides. This is not on here yet, but I did put the screw. I don't want to have to remove the front, the entire front. So I guess this one's not going to look good. Too bad. I went ahead and I removed the tail light. So, yeah, it is this way. Very, and you know, here's another issue is that there's going to be some spots that are missing in the very end because apparently the plastic broke into little pieces, so it's going to be very difficult. Melt a little bit towards the top here. Taking your zip tie from the back, it doesn't really matter because there's so much plastic that we need to melt here. Thieves broke the steering lock. One of the pieces that broke was on the other side. There's this round piece of plastic. So right here in this corner, I could not figure out where the plastic was because I had two pieces. But I believe that it's like this. It's rounded off. So this part, I believe, goes down here like that. And then this part goes right here. And it kind of slides into that. Kind of a very difficult blend, but that is what it is. And then the screw, and I believe that the tabs also broke off of here, so this is not going to hold, unfortunately. But I should be able to put something there, a piece of Velcro or something, just to kind of hide it. Right here we have a tab that broke off, and it's got a screw. So there's a direction to it, and I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to take my heat gun. Make sure you line it up perfectly. Okay, let's see if it holds. Now it's holding, but okay. I'm going to leave it like that. And here we go. This is the other side. This tab, I've already separated the metal clip. And you really want to push it down. That I have this cable for charging mostly my GPS, so I need to figure out a way, if it's possible, I can drill it and get it to come up. I'm just going to put a hole here, put it on the top, and I'm going to fit the wire that I just cut, that I just want to put in right through the very bottom, right here. And I'm just gonna, so if you have a bike, most likely you're not gonna be doing this, but because I want some way of charging, I'm just gonna run it up. Just kind of thread it carefully. This one, I got the wrong one. This is the wrong one for here, so just pull it out. One for the rear, one for the back. The one that's got the little bit of a raise there, that goes to the front. And the one that does not have it goes to the rear. You don't have to super tighten it. And these Phillips screws have a washer. They're different than the other ones that we have. There we go. Now I slid it back and it's perfectly round. So, which is the seat is on there perfectly. Just make sure that when you close the plastic that you don't sever the wire. So for now, we are going to be using this fiberglass resin and fiberglass. And the reason we are going to be doing that, because the fiberglass is going to provide a lot of strength. And these cracks, what I'm worried about is that eventually this is going to break. So I want to put some fiberglass mat here and just kind of hold it down just a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to hold up over time, but I kind of feel that if I do a little bit of the epoxy, it's going to work out a little bit better. This is pretty strong. It's like marine grade, so it's the kind of stuff that they use for boats. And you don't need a lot, and I have way too much epoxy and not enough hardener. So I'm going to cut just little bits. I've used fiberglass before, but the goal, the key at least, is to mix the right amounts. And I'm going to use these gloves. Usually you have a brush. I don't have a brush. And this is an epoxy. I bought it from auto parts store. And we're just going to pour our epoxy onto here. This is quite a bit, and it should last for quite some time. First, I'm going to add a little bit of the hardener onto this. And now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to mix it really well. It's just like a putty. This is a gel sort of thing. You could get fiberglass matte, and that will work as well. And there we go. I'm just going to kind of drop it in here. And if you have a brush, that's going to work even better for you. There we go. This is really going to firm up. This is going to become a paste. Just make sure that you spread it around. And the more of these layers that you create, the stronger it's going to be. Let's see if I can get. I really should have cut the fiberglass in smaller sections. There we go. You definitely have to make sure you put hardener, otherwise this thing will just not firm up at all. A brush is always a good idea for this sort of stuff. Glass into here, and I'm simply just going to drop it in here. Here we have another section that we need to cover up. Remember, a brush is really what you would want for this application. And this sort of fiberglass is a little bit harder to get. I ordered it online. It's like marine grade. Even though it looks like a mess, guys, these two plastics are going to be very thick and hopefully very rigid, and probably even stiffer than the plastic that I had. So tomorrow I'm going to find out. If not, I'll redo it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Kind of stuck here. The cops won't bother me.